An alien fugitive, on the run from its own kind, pleads for refuge, offering a bond unlike any human could imagine. Desperate, it begs, "Let me serve you, human. I can be your mate, give you offspring." But is it truly just survival, or is there a deeper, darker reason for its plea? Secrets unfold as an unexpected connection forms, and a choice is made that will change everything. Will the human accept the alien's offer, or will the truth destroy them both? Tune in to discover what happens next. Hey, yes, if you love thrilling sci-fi stories with a twist, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts. Let's dive into. In a quiet, small town, something strange was about to happen. A night that seemed like any other would soon change when a figure appeared from the shadows, stumbling and barely standing. The human, busy with their evening chores, looked up, startled by the sound of heavy breathing and the sound of something or someone hitting the ground. There, in front of them, was an alien. It was unlike anything the human had seen before. Its body was slender and tall, its skin a faint greenish hue, and its eyes, large and full of fear, stared at them, pleading. The alien seemed hurt, its movements slow and shaky as if it had been running for its life. The human stood frozen, unsure if they should run or help, their heart pounding with a mix of curiosity and fear. The alien's lips quivered as it looked up, tears streaming down its face. In a voice that trembled, it spoke, "Let me serve you, human. I can be your mate, give you offspring." The words hung in the air like an impossible request. Was it begging? Was it pleading for something so strange, so foreign to the human's understanding? The human couldn't comprehend what the alien was saying. It was clear that this creature was desperate. Its eyes were wide, full of emotion, as if it had nothing left to lose. But why? Why would an alien, clearly from another world, offer itself in such a way to a human? What could it want in exchange for something so intimate and bizarre? The human's mind raced as they tried to make sense of the situation. "Why are you here?" the human finally managed to ask, their voice shaky from the confusion and fear. The alien's body shook as it kneeled on the ground, still sobbing. "I am an outlaw," it said between sobs. "I am being hunted, my own people. They want to kill me. Please, I need refuge. I can offer you everything. Just, please, don't let them take me." The human could see the fear in the alien's eyes, a fear that felt all too real. It wasn't just desperation. It was survival. The alien's words were filled with emotion, and as it looked up at the human, there was a moment of silence. The human felt the weight of the alien's plea, its vulnerability becoming impossible to ignore. The human stepped back, not sure what to do. Should they trust this alien? Could it be true? Could it really offer what it claimed? The human felt a strange pull, something deeper than fear or curiosity, a kind of compassion, maybe. Or was it something else? The alien, sensing the hesitation, continued, "I can be your mate, your partner. I can give you children. We can build a future together." The words hung heavy in the air, the promise of something that seemed too unreal to be true. But there was something about the alien's sincerity, something raw and real about the tears it shed. Could it be possible that in this moment of vulnerability, this alien was offering not just a refuge, but a connection like no other? The human, still uncertain, knelt down in front of the alien. "What do you want from me?" they asked softly. "I just want a chance," the alien whispered, its voice barely audible now. "A chance to survive, to live." The human stood frozen, staring at the alien who was now silently kneeling on the cold ground. The moonlight reflected off its tear-streaked face, creating an almost surreal image. An alien, lost and broken, offering its life in exchange for safety. The human's mind raced, torn between the strange alien's plea and the fear that weighed heavily in their chest. Could this being truly offer what it claimed? Could they trust this desperate fugitive? The silence between them grew thick, suffocating. The alien's eyes never left the human's, filled with a mix of fear, desperation, and something else, a glimmer of hope. For a moment, the human found themselves captivated by the alien's gaze, unable to look away. The fear that had first gripped them began to dissolve, replaced by something they hadn't expected: sympathy. The alien's sobs quieted, but its voice still trembled when it spoke again. "I am not what you think, human. I am not your enemy. I only want to survive. I offer you what I can, my loyalty, my service, and more if you would have me. I can give you a future. I can give you what no one else can." The human felt a chill run through them, but the words struck something deep within. The alien was offering more than just its presence. It was offering a chance at something new, something different, something that no human could ever imagine, a connection that crossed the boundaries of worlds. But was that truly what the alien meant? Was it just a survival instinct? Or was there something more beneath its words? The human crouched down, examining the alien more closely. It wasn't just its physical appearance that seemed strange. It was the aura of mystery that surrounded it. Everything about the situation felt unreal, like a dream from which the human might never wake. How could something like this be real? How could an alien, one who had traveled from another world, be so vulnerable, so broken? "I don't know what to believe," the human finally said, their voice uncertain. "Why would you want to stay with me? I'm just a human, no different from any other." The alien's eyes softened, and it reached out, its trembling hand gently touching the human's. "Because in my world, we are more than just our race. We are more than our enemies, our survival. We are defined by our connections, by who we choose to be with." The words hung in the air, a truth that felt as if it had transcended the alien's words and entered the human's very soul. The human felt a pull, a desire to understand what the alien was offering. It was impossible to comprehend, yet at the same time, it felt like a promise of something deeper, something that might be worth the risk. For the first time since the alien's arrival, the human felt the stirrings of something more than mere curiosity. There was a strange sense of connection growing between them, like two beings from different worlds finding common ground in the most unexpected way. Could they really offer each other what they needed? Could they create something that transcended the fears, the uncertainties, and the barriers between their two races? The human's heart beat faster, and for a moment, it felt like the world had narrowed to just them, the alien, the human, and the possibilities that lay ahead. A future that neither could fully understand yet, but one that they might soon begin to share. The following days were filled with uncertainty and a strange kind of anticipation. The human had agreed, hesitantly at first, to keep the alien in their care under the condition that it would prove its loyalty. The alien, for its part, remained quiet, accepting the human's rules without protest. Yet, as they spent more time together, a subtle shift began to occur. The alien no longer seemed like a mere refugee. It became something more, something deeper. The human had initially thought of the alien's offer as just an act of desperation, a cry for help. But as the alien performed its tasks, caring for the human's home, cooking meals with an efficiency that spoke of intelligence and skill, the human couldn't help but notice the small, almost imperceptible acts of kindness. The alien seemed to understand things about the human that no one else did, picking up on small cues, gestures, even the unspoken needs that the human hadn't realized they had. There was an odd comfort in this strange being's presence, an eerie sense of familiarity. One night, the human found themselves staring at the alien as it worked by the dim light of a candle, its features softened in the glow. The alien had taken to calling the human master, though it always said it with an air of reverence, never as a command. Yet the words felt strangely intimate, like the bond between them was slowly shifting from one of necessity to something more personal. The alien had shown nothing but respect since its arrival, but the human felt a flicker of something else growing inside them, an unspoken understanding. "I don't know what to make of this," the human murmured one evening, watching the alien prepare dinner. "It's like you're not from this world." The alien paused, looking up from its task. "I am not," it said softly, "but I understand you more than you think." The human frowned, unsure whether to believe it. How could an alien, something so entirely foreign, understand anything about them? Yet, as the days passed, they couldn't deny that the alien's insight into their needs, emotional, physical, even spiritual, seemed to go beyond anything they could explain. One evening, as they sat down to eat together, the human broke the silence. "Why did you really offer what you did? To be my mate, to give me offspring. Why me?" The alien's eyes seemed to soften, and it looked down at its hands for a moment before meeting the human's gaze. "In my world," it began, "we do not form connections lightly. Our bonds are sacred, formed through trust and understanding. What I offer is not something that can be given to anyone. It is a promise of loyalty, protection, and more. I chose you because you showed kindness when no one else would. I chose you because despite your fear, despite your doubts, you are willing to listen." The words hung between them, and for the first time, the human understood. This wasn't just a desperate plea from an alien in need. It was an offering, an offer to form something real, something that transcended their differences. It wasn't about survival anymore. It was about the possibility of connection, of building something new from the ashes of uncertainty. The human's heart raced, 1,000 thoughts racing through their mind. Could they truly accept what the alien was offering? Could they allow themselves to trust in this bond, to accept that something as extraordinary as this could exist between two beings from different worlds? They didn't have an answer yet, but as they looked at the alien sitting quietly beside them, the first spark of possibility ignited in their chest. Perhaps this was more than a chance encounter. Perhaps it was the beginning of something neither of them could have predicted. The days that followed were a strange blend of quiet moments and heightened awareness. The alien, who had once appeared fragile and desperate, seemed to grow stronger with each passing day. Its movements became more assured and its presence less foreign. What had begun as an arrangement out of necessity had morphed into something deeper, something that neither the human nor the alien could fully explain. It was no longer just about survival for the alien, it was about proving its worth. And for the human, it was becoming about something else entirely. It was late one evening when the alien approached the human, its eyes gleaming with an emotion that was neither fear nor desperation. It was a look that seemed almost hopeful. The human, sitting by the fire, felt the tension in the air and looked up, their hearts skipping a beat. For the first time, they noticed how close the alien had become, not just in proximity, but in presence. It was like the air around them had shifted, thickened, as if the very room was charged with anticipation. The alien spoke quietly, almost too softly to hear. "You've been kind to me, even when I did not deserve it. I've offered you everything I can, but there is more I can give." The human's pulse quickened. There was something in the alien's voice, something that suggested it was no longer asking for mere refuge. It wasn't just a fugitive anymore. It had become something else, something that had slowly been woven into the fabric of the human's life. And as the alien's words hung in the air, the human felt a surge of emotions they hadn't expected. Something between longing and uncertainty. Something that both terrified and thrilled them. "What do you mean?" the human asked, their voice low, almost hesitant. The alien's gaze never wavered. It took a step closer, and the human's breath caught in their throat. The distance between them felt like a vast ocean, yet in that moment it seemed to shrink, as if they were finally on the verge of understanding each other. "I can be more than what you see," the alien said, its voice laced with a strange, quiet intensity. "I can be your partner, your protector, your equal. But it's not just about serving you or giving you offspring. It's about sharing something deeper, something that transcends the physical." The human blinked, unsure how to respond. Was the alien truly offering this bond, this connection that seemed to transcend anything they had ever known? Or was this just another manipulation, another desperate act born of survival instincts? Yet, as they looked into the alien's eyes, they saw something that went beyond survival. There was trust, yes, but more than that. There was a depth of emotion that no human could fake. The alien wasn't just offering to serve. It was offering to be something more. It was offering the possibility of a bond that went beyond what either of them had ever expected. The humans stood slowly, taking a step closer to the alien. Their eyes met, and for the first time there was no fear, no hesitation. Only the quiet understanding that something had shifted between them. Something powerful. "I don't know if I'm ready," the human whispered, their voice trembling with uncertainty. The alien reached out, its hand gentle as it touched the human's arm. "You don't have to be ready, not yet. But I am here. I am yours, if you will have me." The words hung in the air like a promise. And for the first time, the human felt the weight of what the alien had offered. Not just a bond, but a chance for something real, something unexpected. The fear was still there, but it was beginning to fade, replaced by something else. Curiosity, desire, and the faintest hint of hope. Would they take the chance? Would they dare to trust this alien to explore the possibility of a future together? As the humans stood there, uncertain yet drawn in, they knew one thing. The world as they knew it had shifted. And so had the alien. The days that followed felt like a strange dream, a surreal experience where time seemed to stretch and bend in unexpected ways. The human and the alien, once distant and cautious, now found themselves in the midst of something unspoken. The air between them had thickened with tension, a connection that neither fully understood but both felt with growing intensity. The alien was no longer just a fugitive, and the human was no longer just an observer. Something deeper had taken root. The human couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of something profound, something that had the potential to change their life forever. Yet, despite the growing bond between them, doubt still lingered in the human's mind. Could they truly trust the alien? Could they open themselves to a future that had once seemed impossible? One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of red and gold, the alien spoke again. Its voice, once trembling and uncertain, had taken on a tone of quiet confidence. It had been days since the human had last spoken of the offer, and the alien, though patient, seemed to be waiting for something, a sign, perhaps, that the human was ready to take the next step. "I know you are conflicted," the alien began, its gaze never leaving the human. "You wonder if you can trust me. You wonder if this is real, if what I offer is truly what I say. But know this, I am not like the others. I do not wish to deceive you. I do not seek to harm you." The words were calm, but there was an urgency in them, as if the alien feared time was slipping away. The human looked at it, searching its face for any sign of deceit, but found none. There was only sincerity, a quiet conviction that seemed to echo in the alien's every word. It wasn't just survival that drove the alien anymore, it was something more. Something that had become a part of its very being. "I'm not like you," the human said, the words escaping before they could stop them. "I don't know what to believe. You're from another world, and yet you're here, offering me something I don't fully understand." The alien took a step forward, its eyes softening. "I am not asking you to understand everything all at once. What I offer is not something that can be explained in a single moment. It is something that can only be known through experience, through trust. I am here because I believe in what we could become together. But I will not force you." The human's heart raced as the weight of the alien's words sank in. For so long they had resisted the pull between them, afraid of the unknown, afraid of what accepting this bond might mean. But in that moment, standing in front of the alien, they realized something. The fear was no longer as heavy. It wasn't gone, but it had faded, replaced by something that felt more like anticipation. "I don't know what the future holds," the human said, their voice soft, "but I'm willing to try." The alien's eyes lit up, and for a moment, the human saw a flicker of something in its gaze, something that was more than just relief, more than just gratitude. It was something that felt like a promise, like a bond being formed in that very instant. "I will prove myself," the alien said, its voice steady. "I will be loyal, and I will protect you with everything I have. You are not alone in this. Whatever comes next, we will face it together." The human nodded, and in that moment something shifted between them, something both fragile and powerful. The doubts, though not fully gone, seemed less important. The future, once unclear and full of questions, now seemed a little brighter, a little less uncertain. As they stood there, together in the fading light, the human knew they had crossed a threshold. There was no turning back now. What they had started, this strange and unexpected connection, was only just beginning, and though the road ahead was unclear, they felt ready to walk it, side by side. The morning sun had barely risen when the silence between the human and the alien grew unbearable. There was a weight in the air, a tension that neither could shake off. What had begun as an unspoken understanding was now beginning to feel like something far more complicated. The alien had proven its loyalty, its sincerity, and yet the humans still found themselves questioning everything. They were no longer just protecting the alien. They were deeply entangled in its world, in its past, and in the promise it had made. It wasn't long before the truth, long hidden behind the alien's cryptic words, began to surface. The alien had remained quiet about certain things it had kept hidden for reasons it hadn't yet explained. But the truth always finds its way to the surface. And now, as they sat together one evening, the alien spoke again, its voice tinged with both fear and resolve. "I never told you everything," it began, its eyes avoiding the humans. "There's something you need to understand, something you must know if you're going to be a part of my life." "A part of my world!" The human's heart began to race. It wasn't just the alien's words that caused the spike in their pulse, but the way it said them. There was no fear in its voice now, just an unshakable certainty, a sense of inevitability. The alien continued, its voice low and steady. "I wasn't just fleeing a war," it confessed. "I wasn't just running from my people. I was sent here. I was sent to find someone. Someone who could help us. Someone who could help me start a new line of beings, a new race, one that could unite our people. You're that someone." The revelation hit the human like a thunderclap. The alien had been searching for them, not just for refuge, but for something far more profound. The human felt a cold rush of fear followed by a flood of confusion. How could they possibly be the one to help the alien? What did it mean to start a new race? Was this some grand scheme? A manipulation? Or was it really something the alien believed in? The alien reached out, its touch gentle but firm, grounding the human in the moment. "I didn't want to tell you like this. I didn't want to make it sound like a plan. But it is the truth. You are the one who can make this happen. Together we can bring something new into the world." The humans stepped back, their minds swirling. The implications of the alien's words were staggering. Could they really accept this responsibility? Could they be the key to the alien's future? To a future that wasn't even their own? For the first time since their strange meeting, the human felt the full weight of what had been offered. It was more than just a bond. It was a destiny, shared between two beings from different worlds, bound together by fate. But what if that bond wasn't enough? What if the alien's past, its people, were too much for them to handle? The alien, sensing the human's doubt, held its ground. "I'm not asking for you to decide everything now. Just know that what we have is real, and whatever happens next, we face it together." The humans stood silent, their mind racing, the future uncertain but now irrevocably tied to the alien. The tension had built to an almost unbearable point. The human's heart raced with a mix of excitement, fear, and confusion. The alien's revelation, its declaration that they were meant to unite, to create a new race, had shifted everything. What once seemed like an unlikely bond was now something more, something that felt like fate. Yet, as the human stood there staring into the alien's eyes, doubt lingered like a shadow. Could they truly live up to the promise the alien had made? Could they trust that what they had was real, or was it just the weight of destiny pushing them together? The human knew they couldn't keep living in uncertainty. They needed answers, even if the truth was far more complicated than they could have imagined. But before they could speak, the alien moved closer, its presence overwhelming yet comforting, a paradox they couldn't quite understand. "I know this is a lot to take in," the alien said softly, its voice barely more than a whisper. "But I've given you everything. My loyalty, my trust, my future. I've shown you what I am. Now I ask you to decide. Will you walk with me into this future? Will you choose to be with me, to create something new?" The human's breath caught in their throat. The alien had given them a choice, but it felt like no choice at all. They could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on them. This wasn't just about their future. It was about something far greater. The fate of the alien, perhaps even of its people, rested on their shoulders. The idea of bearing the responsibility of creating a new race, of building something that had never existed before, was both exhilarating and terrifying. But the human also knew deep down that they could not walk away. There was something in the alien's eyes, something that spoke of a deep and raw sincerity that made them believe it was worth the risk. They had seen the alien's vulnerability, its strength, and its pain. They had felt its love, however strange and foreign it seemed. And in that moment, the human realized they could no longer ignore the connection between them. "I will walk with you," the human said, their voice steady despite the storm of emotions raging inside them. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I can't turn away from this." The alien's eyes softened, a look of relief washing over its face. "Then we begin," it whispered. "Together." As the human and alien stood there in the quiet of the night, a sense of peace settled between them. There were no more doubts, no more questions. They were united not by force but by choice. What had begun as an unexpected encounter, an alien seeking refuge, had turned into something far greater. They were partners now, bound by a shared future, a future neither of them could have predicted. And as the world outside remained unchanged, they both knew that together they would face whatever came next. The journey ahead was unknown, but for the first time the human felt ready to face it, no longer alone, but with the alien by their side.